Hello everyone, this is Shigeki. Today I'm going to talk about my lack of interest in the news. I know that some of you may not be able to relate to this topic, but I also think there may be some of you who will feel the same way. With that hope in mind, I'm recording this podcast. In Japan, there's a common belief that once you become a working adult, you need to read the Nikkei newspaper and be interested in current events. Older people often lecture young people on this. Many young people take this advice seriously and start collecting news and studying, almost feeling obligated to do so. I'm not against learning and studying in general, as I think that studying itself is a valuable thing. However, for me personally, news is not something that interests me. This has been the case since I was a child. I like to read books, especially literature and novels. As a young adult, I became interested in humanities and social sciences, but my lack of interest in the news has not changed. There's a lot of news in the world, including wars between countries, conflicts, social issues like gender, racism, immigration, and corruption. However, all of these issues feel distant and unrelated to my own life. This is one of the reasons why I'm not interested in news. I do feel compassion for people who are suffering, and I believe that someone who does not feel compassion is not human. I have empathy, but I cannot feel as if these news events are happening to me. The reason is that I, as a receiver of the news, am a third party. The media providing the news is also third party. The people who are most affected are the people directly involved in the situation. As an individual, when I see when I see news of an unfortunate event, I feel bad, but there's nothing I can do about it. Another reason for my lack of interest is that many of the news issues are safe worries for me. Even if I discuss these issues, I'm doing so from a safe distance. These issues do not affect my own existence, personality, or dignity because it is a safe thing to worry about. It does not really matter to me. I know that many people may not understand this. When you work in a company, there are times when you need to talk with customers or your boss and make small talk, and that often involves talking about current events. If you say that you don't know about news, you will be seen as someone who is not a good member of society. You feel pressured to keep up with current events. Not that I'm a freelancer, I don't have to do that anymore, and I'm very grateful for that. It is a pain to have to follow the news just to have common topics with other business people. When I was a company employee, I feel that the issues I faced at work were much more serious than the issues discussed in the news. Problems like interpersonal relationships, workplace harassment, and conflicts with a boss can damage your dignity. You can resolve it through the court system if it involves breaking the law, but most of the time you have to solve those issues by yourself. Your company and the boss will often not take your side. There are many serious problems inside the company that are never reported in the news. For me, solving these personal problems is more important than being aware of what is being reported in the news. My goal for this podcast is not just to share information, but to share my experiences as a former company employee and provide advice that helps you solve your own personal issues. I want to avoid talking like a commentator. I think it takes courage to share my point of view because in business it is important to have an interest in others and a social perspective. However, just correcting news for the sake of it, without any relation to your own life, is meaningless. When I send out information, I wanted to be useful for you in your life as a business person, especially in the area of interpersonal relationships.